Storing a contract behind a firewall keeps it safe from hackers, but it does nothing to protect against the internal obligations of the contract itself. This is the operational risk of passive storage. You upload a legal document to a secure cloud folder, and the system considers its job done. The responsibility to execute terms, monitor deadlines, and manage renewals is offloaded entirely onto human memory. In practice, that means relying on a web of disconnected spreadsheets, chaotic email threads, and isolated calendar alerts. When these manual workflows fail, the business misses critical renewal dates. You find yourself trapped in unwanted auto-renewals, paying for services that may no longer be required. The secondary fallout can be severe. A missed email can mean operating with an expired vendor insurance document, exposing the organization to compliance breaches and direct financial liability. Solving this structural flaw requires moving away from passive storage and building a system of composable enterprise orchestration. You do not need to purchase a siloed third-party software suite to do this. You can engineer this proactive architecture using the native Microsoft 365 components already in your environment. We are replacing a dead-end filing cabinet with an active data pipeline, a system engineered to monitor and manage the lifecycle of a contract automatically. The foundation of this system is the data layer, housed in SharePoint, but we are no longer treating SharePoint as a basic folder. If you upload a raw, unstructured PDF, the computer only sees a file name. It has no visibility into the financial or legal obligations inside that document, rendering automation impossible. To solve this, we enforce strict metadata collection. In this context, metadata acts as the required structural variables, permanently mapped to the contract file at the exact moment of upload. First, we capture the primary entity data, the exact vendor name, the internal contract owner responsible for the relationship, and the total contract value. Next, we extract the critical temporal data that dictates the lifecycle clock, the effective date and the expiration date. Extracting and locking in the expiration date alongside a designated contract owner is the absolute bedrock of this architecture. Without these two variables, the system cannot know when to act or who to alert. This matrix shows the required metadata fields. Every single contract entering the system must satisfy this structured grid. By forcing structured data entry up front, a passive file is turned into an active, trackable database record. With the data structured, we activate the logic layer using Microsoft Power Automate to orchestrate the lifecycle. Instead of relying on a human to manually check a spreadsheet, Power Automate executes a daily automated polling run against the entire contract library. The engine performs a specific mathematical operation. It calculates the exact temporal delta between the current system date and the SharePoint expiration date. When that calculation hits specific numeric thresholds, it acts as a logic trigger that initiates a strict communication workflow. This timeline shows the phased notification schedule. Initial alerts trigger at 120 and 90 days prior to expiration. Escalation protocols dispatch urgent warnings at the 60 and 30-day marks. The output is a clean notification card pushed to the contract owner via Teams. Because this logic layer is governed by automated daily polling, the organization replaces the last-minute scramble with a predictable 120-day lead time. Automation is effective at managing timelines, but executing complex business decisions requires human judgment. We handle this by implementing Microsoft approvals as the standardized human-in-the-loop UI layer. This workflow diagram shows the rigid sequential routing required for compliance. The cycle initiates by sending an approval card exclusively to legal. The system then automatically routes it to procurement, finance, and finally the business owner. The user takes specific actions: approve, reject, or delegate. Running silently behind this interface is a vital enterprise control mechanism. The system automatically logs every single decision, the exact timestamp, and the verified identity of the user. By enforcing this sequential routing, the system removes departmental ambiguity and provides a clear record of responsibility for every stage of the review. Once a human decision is reached, we face a final administrative hurdle, formally documenting the outcome for compliance. We close this loop by deploying automated Word document generation as the final output layer in the orchestration pipeline. Power Automate extracts the initial SharePoint metadata alongside the comprehensive approval history we just logged, and passes them as variables directly into a designated Word template. The result is a fully drafted, perfectly formatted renewal summary document. This final automated step removes the need for manual data entry, reducing the potential for transcription errors as the contract's lifecycle loop closes. Up to this point, we have orchestrated the lifecycle of an individual contract, but executive leadership requires macro-level visibility across the entire portfolio. To achieve that, we place Power BI at the top of the architecture as the ultimate analytics layer. This dashboard demonstrates how Power BI seamlessly aggregates the static metadata from SharePoint and the dynamic workflow history from Power Automate. It provides a single source of truth for total portfolio value, risk levels, and upcoming expirations. Leadership can proactively manage the portfolio by segmenting data based on contract value or assigned risk level, identifying areas of exposure. They can also track operational health by monitoring departmental ownership loads and identifying where contracts are bottlenecking based on expiration status. As the system is adopted, review cycles become standardized and predictable, leading to fewer missed renewals and more reliable forecasting. Furthermore, the system generates a persistent audit trail, logging every action and timestamp automatically without requiring manual data entry from the participants. By thoughtfully layering these composable Microsoft 365 tools, an organization moves far beyond a passive repository into a highly proactive, scalable, and fully auditable contract lifecycle engine.